Good morning everybody, and well, would you look at that, 18 custom sets later and 1 year on, we have reached the finale, the last of our Tears of the Kingdom custom LEGO Legend of Zelda sets. And while this will not be the end of this project and we still have a wrap up video to go, this one is hotly anticipated. This is set number Z086 with 723 pieces containing spoilers for the ending of Tears of the Kingdom. This is Demon Dragon Duel, featuring not only 2 recreations of the dragons from the finale fight of the game, packed with play features and 4 figures, but also a side build. This one is for display and play and wraps us out very nicely. So come with me as I let you take a closer look at this long-awaited finale set. And as we look forward to the future of returning to Wave 4 and the classic games, as there is so much more to cover in the Zelda universe. So, taking a look at our box, we know that this set is for ages 8 and up with 723 pieces, retailing for £64.99 Great British pounds. It contains 4 minifigures, including the long-awaited Ancient Dress Zelda and also Ganondorf from the game, alongside, of course, our 2 brick-built dragons. Everything in this set, basically, apart from the display stand, is a character, so that will make a lot more sense when you see it in a minute. As for our description today, Swords of the Skies to challenge the fearsome demon dragon and end his reign of terror, transform Zelda into the light dragon and protect the secret stone in the hidden compartment. Fly these fully posable dragons into battle with movable heads, legs and body segments. Watch out for the demon dragon's dark energy missiles and destroy the secret stone attached to his head. Break open the malice eyes on his back to reveal Ganondorf and initiate the final duel. When play is over, pose the characters in the iconic final catch with included display stand, perfect for any Zelda fans desk. Okay, and that gives you a little bit of a hint that there is much more to see, a couple of features which you just can't get beyond having 2 posable dragons. If we open that box though, we have 7 numbered bags and 3 manuals, giving us our first look at the display stand for this one, and of course splitting out the dragons. First bag opens up the first manual, and you can see that bag 1 gives us our Tears of the Kingdom Zelda in her Zonai dress, also her Stone of Light and Time, and then of course the Light Dragon specifically. Then you open up the second manual and see that bag 2 starts the Demon Dragon's body. You get to look at the malice eyes there. Bag 3 almost builds the same thing but does include that Phantom Ganon figure. Bag 4 builds the tail and the legs, and bag 5 starts the head and mane, specifically constructing the mechanism which will allow you to shoot like gloom at, well, anything you want. Bag 6 finishes the Demon Dragon, mostly focusing on the head and the horns, giving us Ganondorf in his human form and the Dark Secret Stone, which doesn't really have a power. Anyway, regardless. And then bag 7 is in the third manual, which if we open up gives us our final catch link, as well as a little diorama, which we'll talk more about later on, as well as the figure choices, as I realise that there will be a couple of controversial omissions, specifically Ganondorf in his Demon King form, but I will explain all as we go through. But I want to focus on the build, so let's take a look at these dragons up close. So here we have our light dragon all stretched out, just so that you get an idea of the posability here. Of course, all of these body segments on ball joints, much lighter than say Colgera, meaning I'm pretty confident that these would actually support her weight. The biggest thing to notice, of course, is that head, and you may be wondering why I didn't attempt to brick build it, and it was largely just a scale quandary. Now, one of the biggest concepts of this model was to try and make sure that the Demon Dragon and Light Dragon were both included, and I had a pretty good idea about how the Demon Dragon would have to be scaled in order for him not to blow the budget, because remember, all of these sets are designed to fit a budget. They're not just dream creations, meaning that you can like have the largest Light Dragon and an even larger Demon Dragon. I knew that this thing had to come in at a budget of under 100. I specifically had targeted 70, and we hit that. Now, because of this, it meant that there was only really a couple of ways I could do the Demon Dragon and still get those iconic details, so I actually built him first. But it meant when coming to the Light Dragon, I was slightly more limited with the scale. There's also another key big reason why I wanted to include a moulded head here, and that is so that you can put the princess inside as if she swallowed the stone and then is living or residing within the dragon, and that actually happens under the head. Now, I apologise for the bad drawing of this one, but if we take a look inside the head, you can see with the jaw removed, you've got this spit of the tongue, and then Zelda seems to be floating in there. Well, she's actually resting on a sort of T-shaped bar piece, which is designed to grip between the minifigure's legs, meaning that Zelda sits up in the noggin of the Light Dragon underneath, above the tongue, and can be removed at any time. This easy removable feature obviously allows you to bring her out. She would have been in the body, which you'll see later on the Demon Dragon, but obviously the body is not big enough because I needed it to be small, so that there was this nice size comparison to the Demon Dragon, which you can actually see here. She is much shorter, and that was definitely a key element. Of course, as mentioned, she's nicely posable. I really wish the headpiece looked more real. I really am kind of sad that it's very much a drawing compared to the brick-built nature of the body, which can actually be sort of fixed up in this figure version here, which you're seeing on your screen. But if we move past that, just imagine one of the big moldable heads like we had on the Ninjago dragons back in 2011, and more recently with slightly less specialized pieces. But to be honest, to nail the look and get those eyes perfectly, I really do think it's worth it. I think this is the right way to do a light dragon at this scale, where you want to have both of them facing off against each other, because what kid doesn't want to have combat between the two? Whereas if you were just selling her on her own, it would mean no Demon Dragon. And to be honest, the Demon Dragon was more what I was interested in making for this set, so that sort of explains my logic there. So beyond being able to store Zelda on the roof, there is also space here to put her secret stone, although this isn't as prominent as in, say, the bigger dragon, which we'll take a look at in a minute, but nice and posable, and really fits well with the Demon Dragon as a pair. But let's move on to him now, because he is considerably more interesting in my eyes, at least to take a look at. We've already sort of seen that he's made up of about 6 or 7 segments, but he has some interesting features. Starting down here underneath the neck, I feel like it's a weird place to start, but I want to get this mechanism out of the way. This isn't designed to be a support. This is actually designed to use a newer piece that isn't actually on Studio yet. This piece is the sphere launcher, which was reintroduced with LEGO Ninjago in 2023. In my eyes, most prominently featured on the Heatwave transforming lava dragon, which you can see in this image here. Now in this set, there are these spheres which have come in many colours, and imagine in this set they would be like a reddy black colour, and they fit in this sphere, and then by pressing the tech-lit lever around the back, they go launching, and this is to replicate the gloom blasts that come out of the dragon's mouth. I could not fit stud shooters in its mouth. That would be obstructed and bad play feature and would make the Demon Dragon look much worse, so I settled for having them over here under the neck, and you can just launch. There'd be 2 included in the set, and you can sort of launch them around. I don't really think that this sphere feature is the most important part of the set. It's a nice addition to be sure, but I think the better play feature is actually in the body. Otherwise, what would be a fairly plain and simple build, how both the 2 long segments here and here in the middle can be opened up. Now this could be seen as explosion after Link attaches the yellow tiles here, which would feature an eye print, which is of course where he attacks the weak spots in the game, but also they can be used as compartments to store our minifigures. So in this first one, you can see here I've put Ganondorf in one, and because there's 2 of them, you could put his secret stone or Phantom Ganon in both, as if you're sort of loading up this dragon like a submarine or other LEGO playset. Either way, spaces in the body to include those figures, so once again you can recreate the idea of Ganondorf eating the stone, which yes, I know he doesn't do in his human form. We'll get back to that. Also here along the body, you've got the spine details, and I am aware that the bodies of these dragons are actually pretty simplistic, basically being just kind of a rounded cylinder in segments. Why aren't there more segments? Well, I decided to follow, well, what LEGO's existing blueprint with long windy animals is, and this took the form of this created 3-in-1 set here, which is has an alternate build of a snake. This was sort of my building off point for how to do these Demon Dragons, because these Weaven-like worm ones that feature in Breath of the Wild and then in Tears of the Kingdom, as seen on my Nadro model back in Wave 4, there is reasons as well why that looks different to this, but that's not for today, are very elongated, so the best case was just to not waste as many pieces as possible so that we could have that wonderful scale and details in the head, hence why the bodies were oversimplified. But I was still pleased that I was able to not only fit in that gloom launching sphere feature, but also the hideable rooms for these minifigures. We've got the legs, they're pretty self-explanatory, making some great use of some pentagonal tiles, tempted to suggest that those should have stickers on it, and around the tail features a new recolor for this set, which is the larger flame element in just pure transparent red, which usually these pieces come dual molded, but they are able to come in single molds, so here recolored into red to recreate well, that texture from the game, which actually it looks pretty close to. But coming back up to the head, you can see this is where my favourite part of the set is, but also all of these details. You've got lots and lots of the newer Ninjago horns, as well as different spike pieces and animal teeth being arranged in a variety of different poses to recreate the crown of horns around the dragon's head. And its eyes are printed on 2 inverted 2x2 round tiles that have that slight curve to them, and those are definitely printed parts. Around the jaws we've got some teeth and then some pyramidal pieces to represent some spikes, and I'm really pleased with this, the shaping on the snout. Did actually manage to sneak in an extra feature here. You may notice that the the stone that is embedded in the dragon's forehead is actually missing in this shot? Well, by removing this tile and sticking in this minifigure superhero poser piece, you can actually place the included secret stone, the collectibles from this wave, on the forehead and have it angled back so it looks like it's there, meaning that you can smash it and actually remove it from the model, which is really, really cool. Unsurprisingly, the mouth on this dragon does open, allowing some posability there, and of course features big ball joints between the body segments because it needs that extra friction to be able to stand up, and to be honest, I'm not even sure if that will be enough. But yeah, I'm surprised by how many play features I managed to pack in here, but mostly it's just about that really, really nice head sculpt. Personally, I'm quite proud of myself with that sculpt. I think that one was quite awesome, actually. But we've got a couple more images to take a look at. Namely just some posability to show here how the dragon can sort of be moved around. You can imagine this one as if he's like lunging up and down and he's opening his mouth in a roar. We've also got the demon dragon looking up like you saw on the box art, but again just showing the curvability. You obviously would wish that these sections were slightly smaller so that you could have more posability, but plays the main function here, and also the bodies are long enough to include the figures. Also, more segments equals more part count and less structural stability. So in this case I chose just to have the 4 main segments plus the main tail and head. Yeah, that's pretty much it on its own, but of course these two dragons go side by side to each other, of course not only in a size comparison, but in recreating some of the scenes from that first fight. You can see up here we have where the demon dragon goes to snap at Zelda's neck, and of course Zelda dives underneath, just kind of showing you the imposing nature of this one. I really love this demon dragon build. I'm sorry guys, I know I hyped it up at the end and maybe some of you are disappointed, but I really, really like how he turned out. And then of course I have this second angle here where they're curving around, and this is supposed to be sort of recreating that shot where Link stands on the back with the Master Sword held out, although there is no Master Sword included in this set, on the Light Dragon's head, and begins the fight, and you can see that recreated here as well with a background, just a simple one. But as mentioned earlier, this isn't the only thing included in this set, because I was actually a little bit under parts budget, and the figures not only recreate this battle, but a couple other scenes as well. You have Phantom Ganon, who you could fight at any point. Maybe he can fly now, or maybe you just like act it out on the ground, maybe on this diorama base. But more importantly to me, I think we have the final catch. What an impactful moment, and I really wanted to introduce it here as a way to display your minifigures on the side for such a memorable moment from the game, and so tied to this scene. So after you detach Zelda from the inside of a Light Dragon head and you can pretend that she's falling, you can pose these two characters in that correct position using these transparent pieces on this micro scale diorama here. This is on a 10x10 base, basically surrounded in black, but with a miniaturized version of Hyrule, specifically the Mabe like lake that sits in Hyrule Field where you start the game, but also where you do your final catch. You can see that in micro scale details are a couple of trees with 2x2 tiles. Very simplistic build, could probably have done better there. A couple of smaller bushes represented with flower pieces, the lake in the middle which actually has this nice tan edging, and one edge of tan is left open to be the beach where Link carries her out. Obviously they're supposed to be a long way up in the sky, so we've got two transparent rods making use of the newer Marvel curvier one for Zelda to be in that like sort of fainting downwards position, and then a longer straight one with a superhero poser piece for Link to be posed in the catching PFOs above her, as you can see here. But obviously these combine in with other sets in the waves quite nicely, specifically these figures, but also because this is the final set, this means that we officially have all of our secret stones. So let's take a look at the figures so I can show you our complete secret stone lineup. So first up we have Link in his final fall outfit, and I've left him in his final fall pose here. He's using the same hairpiece that we designed for all of the Tears of the Kingdom sets. He is using the shirtless torso that has been featured many times and has a determined facial expression which has also been seen at different points. He's wearing Hylian trousers which are dual molded tan and brown boots, and of course he has no Zonai arm at this point because he has been healed. If you don't remember, in this scene whatever armor you were wearing is removed and just the trouser pieces are left, which for most people, given that they'll be wearing the champion's leathers, this will assumedly be the Hylian trousers. Obviously this could be any trousers, but that's why we've chosen this variation, as this is sort of the default version. And of course in this pose he is diving for Zelda, who is up next, and she is featured here with her stone, which so happens to be Roro's light stone, but then her time stone and light stone, but also then just becomes the Light Dragon. Anyway, it's a stone for her to swallow and is one of our collectibles in the wave. This is actually this stone's other appearance in this wave came in the Sonya polybag, which we saw a couple of weeks ago. If you didn't check that video out, I'd highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun. But this figure itself is not simple by any means, but fairly standard. We've got some printed legs, some printed torsos, and a little bit of printing on the arms with an existing headpiece mold using this braided back piece, which just works perfectly. I know no ears, but it just didn't need a new mold, especially given that my mold budget is pretty limited this time around. And she's got a somber expression on her face to represent this moment where she is healing the sword. No sword mold for her today. Next up is Ganondorf again from his human form. Now I promised I'd explain why we included him and Phantom and not him and his demon form, and this truly just came to variety. I feel like the Phantom Ganons have more of an impact on the story and a more variety. They also look more different rather than just having both Ganondorf variants from the phases, and then it came down to a toss-up of whether I wanted to include his human form or his like Demon King form, and I settled for having his human form so that it was more of a transformation between this and the dragon, and also this is more iconic with the marketing from the game. He features here with his dark stone as well as no cloth elements, just some printing on the torso, one unprinted arm and then one printed arm. He has his katana in black, lots of lovely details, the dwarf beard in red, which is not the first time it's appeared, and then this hairpiece that was introduced in Ninjago Prime Empire back in 2021, and I really like how he turned out. Of course I want to draw the Demon King variant, but he will not be featuring in a custom set, and again, it's just like real Lego, right? Some figures get excluded sometimes and the fans don't know why, so I guess that is the same case here. Of course, we've just gone through two of our characters that both feature secret stones, and as we've been saying across the last year and 18 sets, ever since we started in Great Sky Island with Raru's Lightstone, we've been working towards collecting these 8 stones, and we finally have collected them all. So I can now share with you one of the new pieces of art that I have put together for the end of this wave, specifically here featuring all 8 secret stones and all 8 wielders of the stones here. Yes, I know if you collected all stone sets you would get 9 stones because you would get 2 copies of Zelda's and Sonia's, which is actually Raru's, but forget about it, it's just the yellow coloured secret stone. And yeah, here they all are. And of course it's worth mentioning that there'll be plenty more art like this and combining all these different sets together in the finale video for all 18 sets, where we'll finally get to see what a full depth layout and a full dungeon system would look like and have all the characters together. It'll be really, really fun to bring all of those sets, all of those boxes and all of those characters together in just a couple of weeks' time. But we have another figure to take a look at right now, and this is Phantom Ganon here recreated, and he hasn't really featured in this video at all because he truly is just an extra figure that almost does not connect to any of the builds, although with your imagination you could do whatever you like. He has a Darkstone Grey or Dark Bluish Grey katana, unprinted red arms, and then some simple leg and torso printing. He has a very menacing face, single-sided, and then he's using the long wavy hairpiece, which is the same one that I would use for the Demon King. Given that he features as a boss, he was also important for me to include him because of course, like the other dungeon bosses, and yes I do count Hyrule Castle, he now features alongside the other 5 to complete this photo lineup at last, where we have our 4 dungeon bosses, the Seas Construct and Phantom Ganon. If you haven't seen any of these bosses and you're curious, go check out the Tears of the Kingdom playlist, where all of these guys had featured in other sets before now. Of course, we have 2 more buildable characters in this set. Seems obvious, but here is the Light Dragon, and that head looks a lot better when you put it on a drawn body as well, which is just the unfortunate nature. If anyone has 3D modeling skills and feels that they can pull off the vision I have for this Light Dragon helmet, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. But I would be curious to see what it would look like as a proper studio render. But then again, that feels like way outside my ability level. But anyway, here's the Light Dragon. She looks pretty great, making use of the light aqua colour for this rock piece for the spines on the back, which maybe isn't as metallic as some people would want, but it's an approximation and I'm happy with it. Same aqua colour for the horns, and that's another reason I wanted to use a moulded element, is so that those eyes and colours were just more accurately represented, because at this such of a smaller scale, a light dragon head is just not going to look how you want. And actually the tongue of the light dragon, which I forgot to mention earlier, is made up with a lollipop piece, which sits in between the click hinges, so sorry for not mentioning that. Next up though, and the last one for today, is the Demon Dragon. We've talked extensively about him, so we will leave it for now. But here he is, and here is his reference image from the game. You can see that pretty much all of the spikes are represented. He's missing that big central one, but to be honest, the side ones are the more iconic ones I feel, and just a combination between dark tan and normal tan to recreate the colours as best as I could. His mane around the beard is also slightly reduced, but there is a lot of red, and of course there's the red mane piece underneath, so I suppose it's just the chin hair that I'm missing. Either way, the black jaw is more important, and that's colour blocking for you. And his spikes, because they're larger and we're working at a different scale, are done in just normal red using a variety of pieces. Okay, so that's all the characters, and actually finishes us up for Z0086 Demon Dragon Duel. But we're not done, of course, because while we've still got our Tears of the Kingdom finale to go, where we finally see all 18 of these sets together, here's just a little more of a taster of these with all these boxes. This wave has been such an experience. I never imagined it would last a full year, in a sense, but here we are, and I can't believe that it's done. Some of my favourite customs I've ever done are in this wave, from Great Sky Island all the way up until Demon Dragon, and of course Seas Construct Knockout as well. I really really love what this game brought to a table in Lego form, and I hope that if there's any either Lego designers watching or very talented people, that you guys would want to bring some of these to life. Speaking of that, some of the instructions for some of these characters, and I will mention this again in the future, are coming to my Rubricable page. Namely, we already have parts of the Great Sky Island and Colgera up there, soon to be followed by the Frox and Marbled Goma, and then obviously more as time goes on. Also, I should mention that given that the Deku Tree set is coming out very soon, today I have just launched instructions for Goma. This is the redesigned Goma that I've come up with to go alongside your Deku Tree set. So if you are planning on buying the Deku Tree, you might want to check out these free instructions and get the parts for an Ocarina of Time Goma for your Ocarina of Time tree. So, in the lead up to that Deku Tree release, we've got plenty more exciting videos to come, and that includes this custom set. That's right, in just 2 weeks time we'll be returning to Wave 4 with another huge entry to the series. This is, I don't feel like I need to hide it, right? The D2C direct-to-consumer Temple of Time set with 4,854 pieces. It's an absolutely massive one with a gimmick very similar to the Deku Tree that I promise I came up with before the Deku Tree even leaked. I do have the tickets for that, but we'll see that in a future one. You won't want to miss it because it's a big video and it's definitely a unique concept that I've not seen done in other Temple of Time mocks. And yeah, that's just in 2 weeks time. We have a very exciting August plan, starting off with the Tears of the Kingdom finale obviously today, and getting so hyped and so ready for the Deku Tree's launch. So let me know what you thought of the Demon Dragon Duel set down below in the comments, as well as what you are looking forward to here on the channel, and your favourite Wave 8 set. If you can give me a good enough reason, I will feature your comment in the Tears of the Kingdom Wave finale, which will be coming out later this month. And yeah, just put your thoughts down below. Share some love for the Demon Dragon. I'm really pleased with this one. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.